Today I want to share a manifestation technique with you that is not only the easiest, but it also might be the best at shifting you into your highest, most aligned timeline. And it's not visualization, it's not scripting, it's not affirmations, it's more effortless than all of those. And I'm going to tell you exactly how it's helped me in my own life. My name's Georgia. I have a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology, and in my free time I love to research manifestation and the science behind shifting our reality. Now in today's video I wanted to share a personal example with you of something that I've recently manifested that I think represents me shifting into my highest timeline, but not only that, I think it represents a much more effortless and seamless way to manifest. So I'm going to share that personal example with you, and then I'm going to share 2 manifestation principles that stem from it. Because some of the best things that I've attracted and experienced in life haven't come from visualization or those kinds of manifestation techniques. They've come from what I'm about to share with you in this video. So I'm going to go straight ahead and tell you the story of the example of this from my own life. So I want to flash back to when I was 18 years old, when I had absolutely no clue what I wanted to do in life, and this was the time when we were deciding whether to go to university or not and what we wanted to study. And yeah, I basically had no clue what I wanted to do with my life, and so I ended up choosing to do a law degree simply because, you know, people say a law degree is obviously a good thing to get, which it is, and it can open many different doors. So it seemed like a reasonable thing to do when you had no clue what else to do. So that's what I did. But as I was doing my law degree, I realised this wasn't really for me. It wasn't what I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing. There were parts of it that I enjoyed, but I just knew that if I chose to go into that as a career, that frankly I'd probably end up miserable. It just really wasn't for me. And at the same time as doing my law degree, I started to realise what my true interest was. I sort of accidentally slipped into researching spirituality, mainly through watching YouTube videos and things like that. And also this is when I became more deeply into manifestation. And so when I was supposed to be researching law, I actually spent most of my time researching spirituality and all of those kinds of topics. And I realised that that is what lit me up. That is where my excitement lay, and that is what I wanted to do with my life. And so I started to do a little research to see if there were any courses in this kind of thing that you could do, and I stumbled upon the master's degree that I've already mentioned in all my videos, the master's in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology, which is with the Aleph Trust, by the way. People ask me this because they don't believe that it's a real master's, but it is. Though I understand why people don't believe it, because it is very much one of a kind. It wasn't easy to find this kind of course, but nevertheless, through my research, I found it and I realised this is what I want to do. This is where my interest is. So basically I decided I want to ditch law and I want to do this master's degree instead. But the thing is, I had absolutely no clue what kind of career this could lead to. When it comes to law, the path seemed so much simpler. Not necessarily easy, of course, because law is very difficult. However, the path itself seemed much clearer, you know. If I was going to do that, I was probably going to go on to do either a master's degree or get a training contract and train to be a solicitor. Or maybe I'd want to become a barrister. You know, there's all these different very clear options that stem from a law degree. However, when it came to this master's degree in consciousness and spirituality, the path was a lot less clear. I had absolutely zero idea what I would do after this master's degree. All I knew was that this felt right to me. This was what I really wanted to do. This was where my interest was. So I decided to do this master's degree despite the complete uncertainty. I had no clue where it was going to lead, but what I did have was faith that the path would reveal itself as I was going along it. I just surrendered to the process and decided this is what I'm going to do regardless of what the outcome might be. Now I want to fast forward to my 3rd year of the master's degree, because this is where things really started to fall into place. So the 3rd year is basically when you do your dissertation. Now usually how dissertations work is you basically pick whatever topic you want to do. However, for my year, and this was the first year this ever happened, they introduced a new process basically. So either you could choose your dissertation topic like normal, or there was another option this year. And basically what it was that there were a number of tutors on the program who put forth some research projects that they wanted to do, and the students could apply for these research projects, with the idea being that if they got one of them, that you would then get your dissertation, or try and get your dissertation published. And so this was the first year that this ever happened, and basically my personal tutor had put forward a project proposal in collaboration with Rupert Sheldrake to basically do a study testing morphic resonance using Wordle. And so this was absolutely fascinating to me, so I applied for it, and I was lucky enough that I got selected to do that project. So this was an incredible experience for me because I got to do my dissertation doing an actual study, testing a theory that basically questions materialism, which is basically where my main interest lies. So this was a dream come true for me, and especially because I obviously got to work with Rupert Sheldrake, which was incredible. So that was just the start of things falling into place, because after I finished the master's degree and finished that project, Rupert actually asked me if I'd like to keep helping doing some more research on morphic resonance, and now also another project. And so since finishing that master's degree, I'm basically living my dream. I get paid to research these incredible theories alongside an obviously incredible scientist. So basically this is the most perfect thing that could have happened to me in doing that master's degree. It was the most perfect sequence of events. I had no clue that this was going to happen. I had no clue that they were going to introduce these projects in my final year for the first time ever. I had no clue that I'd get the opportunity to work with Rupert Sheldrake, not only in a dissertation project, but actually in doing actual research after the master's degree as well. So these were things that I really would have never foreseen, and it just all aligned perfectly. And right now I feel like I am really shifting into my most perfect, highest timeline, and I feel like I'm doing what I am destined to do, really. And just a side note, I will be sharing more soon about the current project I'm working on with Rupert, because we could actually do with your guys' help, and I think you'll find it just as interesting as me, so there will be more of that to come. But for now, the point of today's video is I see two key manifestation principles that come from this whole experience that I've had in shifting into this area of life that I'm currently in, and so I'm going to share those with you now. So the first principle that I see to emerge from this is taking inspired action. Now this really doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be action that has been meticulously planned out. It's simply about doing what feels right to you. Oftentimes I find that there are things that we want to do in life that feel right to us, but they come with uncertainty or they come with fear, and so we hesitate in doing them, or we don't do them at all. And so my advice to you, and it may seem obvious, but as I said, I feel like a lot of people don't do this, but it is to take those actions. When you have those little inspirations, something that you want to do that feels right, that feels aligned, take those actions. You really need to learn to tune out what other people might think, tune out, the fear of the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen, and take the actions anyway. Learn to take the first step, even if you don't have it all figured out yet. And of course, inspired action is a manifestation technique that is often talked about, but it's often talked about in combination with other techniques like visualization, like scripting, and much as I love those techniques, I feel like oftentimes they're not actually necessary. Sometimes you can simply feel what is right for you, and you kind of know what actions you need to take, and that is the quickest way to get to where you want to be, to get to your most aligned timeline. You don't necessarily need to always be doing all of those other manifestation techniques. You just need to start and take the action. You need to trust your intuition and trust what feels right to you. I really believe if you feel like you are meant to do something, if there's something that really lights you up inside, then I feel like there's a reason for that. And I think the reason is because, at least on some level, you are destined to do that thing. There is a path that you are meant to walk in relation to that thing. And so even when we face uncertainty, even when we have no clue where that path is going to take us, I feel like we still need to learn to take that path in the face of uncertainty. For me, doing that master's degree had absolutely no certainty of where it was going to lead. I had absolutely zero conception of what I could do afterwards to start building a career for myself. And yet I did it anyway because it was what felt right to me. So do those inspired actions anyway, even if you have no idea what comes next. And this leads me on to the second principle. Now, the second manifestation principle principle that I believe leads to the most effortless and seamless results, even in the absence of techniques like visualization and scripting, is simply to learn to surrender. Now, this is all about relinquishing control of the outcome. It's about having complete faith that the path will reveal itself, even if you can't see it yet. It's about accepting that it doesn't matter if there is some uncertainty. It doesn't matter if you can't see where this path is going to lead. You do not need to know everything in life. That is where the joy from life comes from. The best things that come to you are often the things that you could never perceive. So all you need to do is take the inspired action and then surrender. I think we have to realize that oftentimes we have this image in our head of what our life is supposed to look like, but we have no clue of the other options that are available to us that can be a million times better than we could ever perceive. We literally cannot perceive of every path that is possible. I, for example, would have never thought in a million years that I would be working with Rupert Sheldrake right now. It just would have never occurred to me that that was an option, and so I would have never visualized that. And yet this is the perfect path for me. I absolutely love what I am doing right now, whereas I know if I'd played it safe and ignored my intuition, ignored the action that I felt like I should have taken, and if I'd done law instead, then I know I would be miserable right now. But I'm not. Instead, I'm on my way to living my dream life. I really think it's only going to get better from here and lead to even more great things that I can't perceive right now. And that is simply because I trusted myself to know what is right for me. I acted on that and I surrendered to the process. I allowed it to unfold as it was meant to unfold. I really think the things that are meant for you will happen to you if you simply allow them to happen. If you step out of the way by simply surrendering to the process and following your intuition, then I think those things will just naturally happen for you. You will have no choice but to attract those things into your life. And by the way, this isn't to say that if you follow this process, nothing bad's ever going to happen to you, because I also think there are challenges in life that we are also supposed to experience that are part of our journey and that serve our evolution. So even if you are shifting into your highest timeline, that doesn't mean you'll never experience challenges. I believe not only will you experience challenges, I think you should want to experience challenges, because what is life if you just sail through it easily and never have a chance to evolve? But the message I really want you to take away from this video is, if you're feeling stuck in life and you're feeling like you are ready to shift into your most aligned timeline, then it doesn't have to be this really difficult thing that requires loads of effort. There are two things that you really need to do, and all they are is simply follow what feels right to you and surrender. Trust the process. So let me know if you've ever experienced any of these perfectly aligned events when you've simply just let go and allowed and followed your intuition. I'd love to hear your stories. Now, if you do still have a specific goal in mind, then I still think the other more proactive manifestation techniques are great. And so if there's a very specific thing you want to manifest, then you can watch this video here in which I talk about a 3-step manifestation process. For now, I really hope you gained value from this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and I hope to see you in the next one.